This is the Transformers Generations Netflix War for Cybertron Trilogy Voyager class Soundwave. I picked up this set from Hobby Corner. And here is Earthrise Soundwave. I suppose Earthrise, since he is already in his Earth mode, alt mode, out of packaging. And I've been so excited to actually get this figure. I knew Hasbro was going to do this when they announced it. I said, oh my goodness, I got to get one. And they said it was a Walmart exclusive. And like, oh my goodness, Hasbro, what are you doing? But anyway, he comes with repaints and redecos, slight remold redecos of Laserbeak and Ravage, his two most famous minions in my opinion. These are the two minions you've got to have when you have a Soundwave figure. We'll show off comparisons with the Siege versions. Looking at the figure, he just gives off so much of a G1 vibe when we first saw him in the old cartoon. And you see some bits and pieces that are still part of the Siege Soundwave. We'll do a comparison later, but as it is, the figure looks absolutely amazing. I'm very, very pleased with it. Paint apps for the figure came out great. Lots of silver here and there, some yellow bits. I believe they retained the same color of plastic. The blue and the gray bits look to be the same with the original Siege Soundwave. Again, I'll show that off later. He comes with his shoulder cannon, which is quite iconic. And his blaster, again, the same vein. This is the blaster Soundwave had when in G1. Got nice Decepticon logo, very clean chest. Press this button and it pops up, pops open. You can fit one of the minions there. One of his hands is still that pressing button. A little bit difficult on this one because the chest, the width of the chest is a little bit wider compared to the Siege one, so you can have him press his button like in the cartoons and he would open that up. A little bit of a quality issue on the face of my Soundwave, the copy of the Soundwave, just a little bit on the silver, but it's forgivable. He's got, I think he has light piping, just enough light piping. Let's see if we can, yep, very cool light piping. And this time it's done in red instead of that yellow light piping from Siege, which was toy accurate. This is cartoon accurate. Articulation for the figure. Got a ball jointed neck, waist swivel because of transformation. Shoulders and arms can go outward, inward, forward and back. Bicep swivel, hinge elbows, swivel wrist because of transformation. He's got this ball hinge hips. Can move up the skirts so you allow him range of motion for the legs. Thigh swivel, hinge knees, and the ankles have rockers, no up and down movement. Okay, he still comes with the other weapon that you can fold and becomes a sort of a rifle blaster, missile launcher, or grenade launcher. You can stick it in right there. I think they, this is probably one of the more useless weapons he has, but they kept it anyway, not complaining too much. So all the joints are tight. So much retooling has done with this mold that I feel it is a brand new mold. So let's do some size comparison. Let's start with Laserbeak. This is the new Netflix Earthrise Laserbeak, and this is the Siege Laserbeak. As you can clearly see, the body is identical, just painted differently. This one has brighter colors. This one has more muted colors. The red plastic on this one is slightly brighter than the Siege version. The silver backpack looks to be the same, but this one does not have a Decepticon logo. Instead, the Decepticon logo is on his forehead. Speaking of the forehead, Hasbro had changed the Condor's head sculpt into, this one kind of looks like a vehicle cockpit. Well, this one clearly looks more like how Laserbeak looked like on the show. So I guess this is toy accurate and this one is show accurate. I could be wrong, but I'm glad they modified the head sculpt so we're not really getting exactly the same figure and just repainted. Legs, this is a darker shade of gray. The gray bits are a little bit darker than this one, than the one on the Siege version. But clearly, they're the same figure, just slightly retooled. Very happy with this new Laserbeak. On to Ravage, the Jaguar. Exactly the same mold. You see the cannons right here, the legs. They also changed the head sculpt. This one is a growling head sculpt. And this one is sort of like a surveying, kind of pondering type of alt mode, poker-faced alt mode. It's got red eyes. This one has silver eyes. The gray bits, I think the new one is lighter. The one in the Earthrise is slightly lighter in shade than the original Siege version. Just slight difference. They look the same when you look at them quickly, but I feel this is just a shade lighter. Paint apps are different. This one has the paint apps of a cassette tape. This one is more Cybertronian. No Decepticon logo right here, but instead you've got the logo for the cassette tape. This one you got the Decepticon logo. On the other side, they've kept the Decepticon logo on this one, but not painted it silver like this one. So, I don't know. I kind of like this one because you get to see all the cassette details, but the Siege paint apps are really making the figure pop. Even the head sculpt, I kind of like the Siege version better. Because this one, he's growling, but there's some space. There's a molded plastic in between the top jaw and the bottom jaw, so not completely sold in that head sculpt, but it is still good. And here we have both Soundwave figures, the Earthrise and the Siege Soundwave. If you look at the weapons look exactly the same. The Earthrise version, just a little bit more plain without the red stripe or red paint that we see with the Earthrise version. You see there's some paint highlights right there, some deep red on the rims of the barrels, just like this one. I thought it looked like, they're tampos, but they look like stickers. And the Earthrise is a little too plain without any details, which is fine because that's how it was in the old G1 toy. The gray plastic that they use for the Earthrise version is much darker than the Siege version. Now onto the figures. If you look at the detail, it is a very heavy retool of the Siege Soundwave figure. The head sculpt looks similar, but it is actually different. And let's start with that. If you look at the Siege version, there's a lot more detail on the faceplate and on the ears or the horns, and smaller vents on the side panels on his cheeks. As you can see with this one, it's slightly different. It's a lot smoother on the Earthrise version. There's more detailing on the Siege version. The silver paint looks to be very similar. And again, like I mentioned earlier, yellow eyes, yellow light piping, and this one is red light piping. Moving on to the torso, you can clearly see that the torso on the Earthrise version is much wider, giving him a sort of off proportion in terms of the body to the limbs. Size difference, or the proportion difference, the chest seems to be way too big for the limbs, while this one has a better proportion in terms of scale with the chest, torso, with the arms and legs, because the tape deck is the same, but the overall chest, the width of the chest is more narrow than, or narrower on the Siege version than on the Earthrise version. The waist panels seem to be the same, like this one and that one, but they changed the crotch piece to make it a lot more smoother on the Earthrise version. And you look at the back, what's really nice is they've gotten rid of that backpack, which we clearly see here with the Siege version. And on the back, instead of that cockpit for the jet, we've got another sort of back skirt, and this forms the panels for the alt mode. The knees are actually different, so they've completely remolded the upper legs as well as the lower legs. You can clearly see a much smoother difference in the shins, the overall leg. Feet, the feet look to be the same. I don't think they changed the feet. They just molded it in a lighter gray plastic than the Siege version. Arms, the forearms at least, as well as the fists, do look the same. I don't see any clear differences with the forearms except for this one's lacking the battle damage paint. And again, a different shade of gray plastic that they used with the Earthrise than the Siege. And they even kept this one, this sort of blaster piece, which is actually vestigial on the Earthrise version. There's no really clear purpose for that. The instructions don't mention anything with that, but it is part of the original Siege forearm, so they put it there anyway, regardless. The biceps look to be the same, but what's nice is that they remolded the shoulders. The shoulders on this one the pegs are on a different position, like this one, and the panels are different. They painted it silver. Not just the paint, it's really different set of panels. The actual shoulder joint, I believe, is the same. Neck joint is the same. And yeah, those are very small, identical parts on both figures. So I think it's fair to say that this can be considered as a brand new mold compared to this one. And here they are with the G1 Soundwave. This is actually the Walmart exclusive G1 Soundwave reissue. And you can clearly see that the Earthrise Soundwave looks and resembles the G1 Soundwave more than the Siege Soundwave. But take nothing away from that Siege Soundwave. It is still an absolutely amazing figure. Both figures are just great. I mean, if you're a big Soundwave fan, you've got to be happy with what Hasbro is giving us. And initially, I thought, after I've already picked up the Earthrise Soundwave, it would be an easy job, easy thing to just dispose of the Siege Soundwave. But looking at them now, both side by side, I'm finding it very difficult to let go of that Siege Soundwave because it's still an amazing, amazing figure. And just for fun, you can see the Earthrise Soundwave holding the alt mode, his alt mode, holding himself. That's the alt mode that came with the Centurion drone, the Generation Select Centurion drone. And I thought it was funny. I thought it was a cool thing to have that thing on display when you put him on the shelf. Let me give you a closer look at that. Look at that. It's like he's holding his replica. So, transformation. Get rid of his weapons. That. Close this up. Let's transform Laserbeak and Ravage first, since these are the easier ones to transform. Fold down like that. And as I mentioned, the minions can actually fit right here on the chest. Oh, wow. Didn't know it would pop out that way. So that's Laserbeak done. And then Ravage. Okay, a little bit tricky on Ravage. Like this, fold him up, then fold the waist piece like this, like that, and then tab the legs together, and fold the legs inward, and there you go. There's Ravage in his cassette alt mode. So very cool. Yeah, they got nice details. Ravage is a little tighter, a tight fit with Soundwave. The best way I thought of fitting him is you invert the cassette, like the Japan logo, the Japan detail right there. Should be on top, inverted, and that's, to me, the easiest way to fit him inside Soundwave. And he would pop out easily. Because if you do it like this, he kind of gets stuck. This piece right here kind of gets stuck right here, and it's very difficult to pop him out. So, and then to transform Soundwave into his cassette tape recorder alt mode. Those of you who don't know what that is, you are so lucky to be so young. Anyway, so what you want to do is you want to rotate the waist piece. I want to do that first because I always forget to do so. And then pop this back piece right here. Fold down, fold back the head, snap that back in right there. And then the forearms, what you want to do is rotate them 90 degrees like that. fold the fists up. Then what you want to do is you want to snap out those shoulders, and then these slots, well, these tabs right here are going to slot into those slots right there. And then these forearms are going to tab in together. Now I kind of understand why they kept the siege parts for the forearms. It's to make a tighter transformation for this guy's alt mode, okay? Pop this out just a little bit. Then what you want to do is you want to do the legs. Pop these up like that. Fold them out like this. Like this. And then the feet, they're going to fold up all the way back like that. Right? And then these are just going to close over the feet like this. Just like that. Okay? And then what you want to do is you want to rotate the thigh joint like that, 90 degrees. And then you want to fold up the legs like this, just like how you would do it with a G1 toy. And then you want to tab in the feet right here onto where the shoulders left off. Just make sure it's nice and flush. Same with this other one, the other side, the other leg. Just tab them in like that. Make sure it's nice and clean, nice and solid and flush. Okay. And then these panels are going to fold out like that. And then they're going to slot in right here on these very small tabs right there. Okay. Just like that. And with that, technically you're done. You can put the weapons on the back, but just wanted to show off as it is the alt mode as a cassette player. It's very nice, it's very clean, and again, it's very similar to how the G1 looked. If you look at it, this obviously is a lot more compact because that was what the intention was back in the day. Pop that out. Okay, and on the back, yeah, some kibble right here, some empty spaces, but it is still very similar to how the old G1 toy looked like. And then the weapons, they don't have a battery compartment, not like this one where you can store the weapons here as though they were batteries. This was a little off to me, but the instructions clearly say you got to do this, and then these you're gonna pop it right there, and then this one and just right here. It's a little off to me. It kind of makes him feel like he's a spaceship, like. So you can store it if you wanted to, but that's the way to do it. And you look at the back, yeah, it's not that great, really. But up in front, you hardly see the weapons, and they look really nice together. And if you really wanted to, here is the Siege Soundwave in his sort of makeshift fan mode tape deck cassette tape recorder alt mode. It could work. I don't have the upgrade parts that you need to move the shoulders back, but I'm pretty happy with this kind of alt mode. And so some final thoughts on this figure. Need I say more? This is the best G1 styled generation Soundwave we've ever gotten from Hasbro and Takara Tomy. I am overly impressed with this figure. I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. Just an absolute gem in the Earthrise line. It's just a shame that Hasbro decided to make it an exclusive, a store exclusive, which really hurts a lot of collectors outside the US. But what are you going to do, right? It is what it is, and I just want to wish everyone the best of luck trying to hunt this figure down. And you got to beat the scalpers, got to beat the hoarders, you got to put some effort in it, and we can do this. Help each other, give proper intel on where this thing is available, and everybody can legitimately get a hold of this figure. I'm hoping Hasbro's listening. Please do not make major Transformers characters into store exclusives. Please. I'm done ranting. I'm begging Hasbro now not to do this again, particularly with the Kingdom line. So there you go, folks. I hope you enjoyed my video review of the new Netflix Walmart exclusive Voyager class War for Cybertron Trilogy Earthrise Soundwave. Let me know in the comment section what you think of this figure. Is this figure an absolute must-have, or are you happy with your Siege Soundwave, or this is a complete pass for you? Let me know in the comment section. I'd be very interested to know what you guys think of this figure. Hit that notification bell so you never miss out on any of my latest video reviews. If it's your first time here, please subscribe. And if you want to help the channel out, help me make more videos, please check out my Patreon account. There is a link in the description box below. Any form of contribution will be greatly appreciated and will help further this channel even more. Thanks for watching.